Are you ready?
Here we go. Here we go.
What is the point of creation at the end of the world?
When the woods of England or the streets of Minneapolis are overrun with rage zombies whose only apparent goal is to feast upon every whiff of humanity they can find, surely survival at any cost is our one and only priority, right? And yet, even as we are destroying, we are creating. We create narratives to justify that destruction. Violence welds people together. It becomes impossible to imagine leadership or community without it. Nobody needs fairy tales and faith more than the damned. Spike, our preteen hero from the movie prior to this one, finds himself in the bowels of one of these twisted fairy tales in the new 28 Years Later, subtitled The Bone Temple. He's been abducted by a roving gang of tracksuit-wearing hooligans whose leader proclaims himself to be the son of Satan. His name is Jimmy, and he has raggedy blonde hair. All of his followers have been renamed Jimmy, and they have raggedy blonde wigs. Jimmy, he struts and he crows his dogma of death and disembowelment with this crooked-toothed smile. Even when he's skinning people alive or forcing little Spike into one-on-one, fight to the death and win and join us or lose and die type duels, it's kind of hard not to smile along with him. The performance is just that charismatic. Spike scores a lucky killing blow in the aforementioned duel, and the slow death of the unlucky Jimmy in question is one in which the power and persuasiveness of the elder Jimmy's ideology slowly seeps away into a pool on the floor far too late. Spike is more of a passive observer in this installment, bearing witness to the effects of Jimmy's son of Satan spiel on both the big Jimmy and the little Jimmys. The chilling realization takes our stomach with the slow, gradual force of a rising ocean wave. All this Satan shit isn't just a bunch of goofy nonsense to keep everyone laughing. They really believe it, all of them. The journey of the Jimmies functions as an approaching comet destined to collide with the actual heart of this movie, the quiet life of a hermit doing his best to create something more tangible than belief. I recently started reading Annie Dillard's A Pilgrim at Tinker Creek, whose back of the book blurb dubs it a form of meditation written with headlong urgency about seeing. There's no plot to this book, really. It's about a woman reporting on the big and small dramas which surround her in the Virginia woods near her home. A frog being liquefied and slurped up by a giant water bug, a mockingbird who steps off the top of a 4-story building and plummets and waits to open its wings until the very last moment. At the end of the first chapter, she describes her goal with the book as follows. If I can bear the nights, the days are a pleasure. I walk out, I see something, some event that would otherwise have been utterly missed and lost, or something sees me, some enormous power brushes me with its clean wing, and I resound like a beaten bell. This is the pace with which Dr. Ian Kelson lives his life. His sections take on a slow, almost Tarkovskian rhythm. The minutiae of the very quiet life he lives are things that, he's always on the lookout for and seems to treasure with an almost motherly caress. His story centers around his bloodless quest to peer into the bugged out eyes of a zombie and try to find anything worth helping. The only other similar riff on this zombie redemption trope that I haven't found either ridiculous or trite is George Romero's Day of the Dead. And even that one is, I think less original, because ultimately that trope was still yet another zombie story about human cruelty. The zombies were experimented on in cages and treated like dogs. Even the most docile zombie, who was named Bub, was no more than a vessel for our pity. He never felt like a complete person's not the word, but you know what I mean. A complete being, the way that Samson comes to feel in 28 years later, The Bone Temple. And of course, in Day of the Dead, the whole operation ends in ripping, chomping, and screaming. Dr. Kelson doesn't seek to cure alpha zombie Samson, but treat him with narcotics and medicine, yeah, but also with his company and patience. One of the truest, like most sublime pleasures of this movie is watching the trust between these two grow like very slowly and beautifully. I'll never forget the scene where like the heavily morphined Samson and slightly morphine Kelson sit in the grass and feel the rain on their skin until they fall asleep, the lion laying with the lamb. Fans of Annihilation and Men will know that screenwriter Alice Garland loves him some greenery in his horror, and we start to see these woods through Kelson's Dillardian eyes. An early moment has us watching Samson slurping human brains out of a decapitated skull with the neutral serenity of a nature documentary. And I just simply cannot think of another zombie movie which so successfully nudges the audience towards cultivating and appreciating beauty wherever you can find it, even as it acknowledges the brutalities of the world. The zombie genre is almost always about the need to embrace brutality in order to survive, and this is in part what the first 28 Years Later movie was about. Spike is first taught by his father how to survive at any cost by killing, but is then taught by Dr. Kelson, a more spiritual father, how to make peace with death. But it was also a film that indulged the lizard-brained thrills of familiar zombie tropes and then slammed on the brakes halfway through. The pacing was all wrong, and the ham-fisted screaming matches between Spike's mother and father jangled the tone even further. For all its strengths, it's probably Garland's wonkiest screenplay. By contrast, The Bone Temple might be his most meticulous. It's certainly his most compassionate. Dillard calls cruelty a waste of pain, and the steady interplay between Jimmy and Dr. Kelson's views of the world dramatize this idea with startling clarity. Even the big gory set piece in the bust glows with a harsh Darwinian harmony, and Jimmy's violence by comparison feels more like a lack of imagination. I won't spoil too much about all that takes place between Jimmy and Dr. Kelson when they finally meet, but I will say that before the threats and violence that you would expect at the end of a movie like this, Jimmy approaches for the first time, and Kelson says in his usual gentle manner, "I don't mind talking." And Jimmy tells him things he's never told anybody. "I like you," he says, "and I don't think I've liked anybody before." The Bone Temple is always surprising you like this, finding moments of grace where any other zombie film would only be able to conceive of bloodshed, and then turning around and unleashing bloodshed, the likes of which you've never seen framed in quite that way before. It's nothing short of a miracle that so much pathos can fit so snugly alongside all the adrenaline that comes with zombies and murder, and then end with, I kid you not, a heavy metal musical number which explodes all of the film's conversations about belief into an unforgettable demonic finale of fire. I did not know Ralph Fiennes could move like that. It is insane. This is the first masterpiece of 2026. Do not miss it.